Today we're going to decide who's the best 1-2 player out of the three of us.
Whoever wins the most today is going to win this challenge.
Rosie's on the way. Let's get started.
Let's go.
Oh hey, didn't see you there. Rosie got stuck at work. He is not on the way. Good luck, boys.
The timer is set to 3 hours. Let's get to work. First hand for us, we've got King 10 of spades in the hijack. There's a button straddle on, one $5 limp, and I open things up to $20. The cutoff calls and the limper calls as well, so we're 3 ways to a flop, and wow, it's Queen Jack 9 with 2 spades. Not only do we flop the nut straight, we've got a flush draw to go along with it. The limper checks. I bet $50 trying to size up and get stacks in. It's on the cutoff now, but the limper must have gotten a little excited because he announces all in out of turn. The cutoff now also announces he's all in as well. He's got $170 and the limper only had about $80, so I call without hesitation, off to a run out with an opportunity to felt 2 opponents. The turn brings a 3 of diamonds, river 3 of spades. We improve from a straight to a flush. The cutoff shows 7-5 of spades for a weaker flush, and the limper shows Jack 10 offsuit for a straight draw and a pair on the flop. We scoop this one in and stack 2 opponents. Let's go.
Our first hand, only 5 minutes into the session, we have 8-4 of hearts in the small blind. Cutoff called 2. I called him for $1 more, and the big blind checked his option. Flop came ace 4 2 spades. We flop trips and checked to the big blind and bet $6. Cutoff calls 6, and I put in a raise right away to $20, charging spade draws, charging ace X. Big blind makes the call and the cutoff folds. He could have a 4 as well. The turn comes the 8 of diamonds, giving us a full house. What a dream card for us. Now, I want to charge 4x to the maximum, so I go for an overbet, and I go big, $125. Now, big blind goes deep into the tank, and I think he's probably going to be folding most of his ace-9, ace-10 holdings here. Maybe he has ace-jack, ace-queen, but he'd probably raise those pre-flop, so we're really targeting a 4 and a spade draw. The big blind player tanks and calls. Great news for us. Let's hold on this river. The river comes the ace of hearts, the worst card in the deck. Now we are forced to check our full house, and the big blind player snap jams all in for $223. Now I'm just in a debate between myself. Does he ever bluff here? He could have spade draws to decide to turn his hand into a bluff, and he should be folding most of his ace X on the turn versus my huge 2.5x pot bet. So I don't think he has many aces here. Maybe he has ace 8 because that's 2 pair, but besides that, I really think that our 4 should be good here. Unfortunately, we're going to be chopping a lot of the time here because he might have a 4 as well and jam that for value. I'm not sure. I go deep into the tank and end up putting in, let me know what you guys would do. I side call, and he shows ace 8. We lose, and the worst river in the deck gets us stacked. Bad start to the challenge.
After busting out 2 players at our table, our game became short-handed, so a new player comes to join in on the action, and he will soon become the most wild player I have ever faced. I don't know that just yet, but I have a hunch when he sits down with over $2,000 and immediately starts talking trash and also calling me some version of a cat. I'll let you guys assume what that word was, but very first hand, we're dealt King Jack of diamonds playing 5-handed. I open things up to $20 over the $5 button straddle, and our buddy previously discussed pops it from across the table to $100 in the small blind without even thinking. Not sure what to make of this, but we're pretty deep, and I'm curious. I call in position, and to my surprise, the button straddle wants to get in there as well. He calls $100. Flop comes King 10-8 with 2 clubs. We flop top pair, solid flop for us, and our friend must be worried about all this action because he starts out with a check. Certainly not going to let this check through. I bet $200, and the button calls all in for less, and this crazy guy across the table folds. Off to a run out, and it comes the 7 of clubs. The flush draw gets there, and the river 4 of spades. I show, and we see the button head Queen Jack offsuit for the straight draw. We scoop this in, stacking another player. After that hand, we're up to 1100 in our stack, ready to battle our friend, and battle we will. Get ready.
Let's bounce right back. I've got ace 10 of clubs in the low jack. There are 3 limps to mean I raised to $20. Should I be going bigger here? Not even sure. Hijack calls 20, button calls 20. Under the gun folds. We got a fold, ladies and gentlemen. U1 and U2 calls. So we're 6 ways to a flop, which comes ace, jack, jack, 2 hearts. Now the under the gun limp caller just rips it in for $50. Folds to me. Okay, we have 2 players behind me. Anyone in this pot could have a jack because they're just limp calling. They can have all jack X, but we do have top pair. He also could have all the flush draws here. So we put in the call, and then we really want to see 2 folds behind us, but the person to our left, the ace-8 villain from the last hand, calls the 50 and the button folds. So now alarm bells are up. The turn comes the 8 of spades. I check, and the villain starts putting out a big bet. This is a dry side pot, and he's putting a big bet, so I am just very comfortable folding my ace-x. I snap fold face up, thinking of course he's got a jack-x. Someone has to have a jack between the initial raiser and the villain from our last hand. The river comes the 4 of spades, and that first jammer shows king 3 of hearts for a rivered bottom pair, and the hijack, he's not showing his hand. Oh gosh, what does he have? 5-4 of hearts. We would have won this pot, but we got bluffed off the side pot. And wow, what a strange line from our villain with ace-8. He turned his hand to a bluff with 5 high in a dry side pot. What even is 1-2?
Like I said before, the guy across the table quickly became the craziest player I have ever seen. We're playing 1-2-300 when he raises to $300 first to act. It folds around and he proudly shows ace-7 of diamonds. I'm ready to fight back against him, and we pick up queen 10 of spades in the small blind and face a casual $90 open from our buddy. Although it's an insanely large open for 1-2, we're pretty deep, and this guy has done this with 100% of his hands so far, so this doesn't necessarily mean he's got a strong hand. I call the $90, and I forgot to mention that the big blind also likes to gamble because he goes all in for $181. Unfortunately, that is just enough to open up the action, and our friend takes advantage of that. He goes all in for $1,600. Alright, geez, dude, just chill out. I forfeit my $90, but at least we get to see what he had. We would have flopped a flush draw and ended up rivering the flush. No! And the big blind shows queen 10 of hearts, same hand as us. That's just a mere queen high on this board though, but who knows what this maniac could have. He tells the table he hasn't even looked at his cards yet and starts laughing while flipping over 1 card at a time, putting on the pressure with 6-9 offsuit. Can't blame him, that's a premium, and he stacks the big blind proudly.
Next hand, we got pocket 9s under the gun, and there's a $5 button straddle. I really don't like button straddles because it changes my strategy a lot. I'm not just going to raise to 15 the normal 3x, because the button just gets way too good a price to complete with all of his hands. So I make it $35 to go, a big raise, and it's 1-2 in Texas. We're getting action. The guy to our left immediately calls us, and then it goes call in the small blind, and the button makes the call. So we're 4 ways to flop, even after our huge pre-flop sizing, and the flop comes king 8-5, 2 clubs. Okay, 140 in the middle. I think this is a pretty easy check with that overcard, and it checks all the way around. Hoping for a clean turn card. Comes the 4 of clubs, completing that flush, and now the small blind player leads out for $125. I really quickly fold, and I'm very surprised to see the small blind shows us queen 10 of diamonds, turn his hand to a bluff, and for the second time tonight, we get bluffed off the best hand.
We moved tables, but we've been so card dead. We have a big hole to make up, down 500 early. We got an hour and a half left. Hopefully the boys aren't running it up too much.
Meanwhile.
Alright, we are down to 3-handed at this table, and I'm gunning for this dude's stack. We are in the small blind with ace-jack of spades. Our friend blind raises to $30 in the big blind before we're dealt our cards. It's a weird situation because of the button straddle and only being 3-handed, but it's on me next to act, and I just called 30 knowing that if we flat, he doesn't get an option to open the action back up. I want to see a lot of flops versus this guy, so we can be really picky as to when we put all of our money in. Rather than just flipping with him, we want to have him drawing near dead. The button straddle wants in on the action too, he calls 30, and we get a beautiful flop. Jack 5 deuce, I check, our friend bets $100, the button folds, and now it's a question of how to get the most money in the most efficient way. I think it's best just to raise again and open up the action, giving him another chance to make a huge mistake. I min raise to 200.
200. I'm all in.
I call.
You got set?
No,
Don't record me though.
I won't record you. I have a jack.
Grand.
We are rewarded for our patience and finally get this guy securing a full double up for over $1,000. Piles of chips are shipped our way. Let's freaking go.
It's our turn to have the button straddle. We look down at Queen 10 of spades, and there are 6 $5 limps to me. We're attacking that dead money. I raised to $50, and everyone folding would be a good result. One caller, we're in position. That's a fine result too. And there's folds, and then the man across the table drinking probably straight whiskey in that big Yeti cup. He's our only caller. Flop comes ace, king, queen. This board smashes our range, but just watch what happens.
You're leading?
No respect for you, man.
Okay, so we flop bottom pair. He only has $100 left after his $100 bet, so I feel pretty committed if we call this one here on the flop. What would you do here? Sure, he could have diamonds, but he also could have all ace X, all king X, because he's kind of crazy. He might just be leading with top pair. We have bottom pair, a gut shot. I've been bluffed twice already this episode. I've also made a really bad call down this episode. So I'm just not making any right decision. We decide to lay this one down, and unfortunately for the vlog's sake, we never know if it was the right decision.
Now our wild buddy across the table is visibly upset, and he doesn't have many chips in front of him anymore. We peel 5-4 of spades on the button straddle. Some players have joined the table, and there's one limp. Our buddy makes it 20. One guy calls, and the limper calls as well. My turn to act, and this is always a clear call. In the moment though, I felt like gambling with this guy, giving him some light action, and I felt pretty comfortable flipping versus him for his stack, especially given the dead money in there as well. We squeeze this one up to 155, folding out the callers, and not surprisingly getting our buddy to go all in for 180. I call, and we're off to a board. Ace Jack 6 all red is not a good start. 7 of hearts gives us some hope with the straight draw, but the 7 of diamonds on the river leaves us with 5 high and a dream. We can beat 4 high and we can beat 3 high, but what we cannot beat is Jack 8 of hearts for a flush. We double this guy up, but it was much worth it to see that smile from across the table. Not only do we have this crazy action from this guy, but our table has slowly become one of the best and most action tables I've ever had the pleasure of playing at. This hand, for example, is a 4-way all-in preflop. This funny dude to my left lets me sweat his cards. Yeah. Wait, let's see what we got here. All right, good luck, all in. You got this.
I'm not gonna show you. Some way.
Oh shit. All right. Albert, good luck.
Got 257 on that.
All right, we've got some hands here. Almost all the chips are in the middle, and this dude flops trips on 7-5-5. Board runs out, and 5-4 suited ends up winning against kings, ace king, and pocket jacks.
We look down at 8-7 of clubs, and being pretty card dead, this looks like pocket aces. There's an under the gun raise to 15. We 3-bet to $45. The cutoff cold calls, pretty normal, and the under the gun player makes the call as well. So we're 3-ways to a flop in a sandwich situation, and it comes ace 8-4, 2 diamonds. Not exactly the board we want to see. Could continuation bet, but I decided to check because they have a lot of ace X in their range, and the cutoff bet's $35. Under the gun folds, and versus small bet, we're very happy to call with our pair. The turn comes a king of spades. No good for us, good for our range though. I check and he quickly checks it back. The river comes a jack. We check and there's no way we can win this pot now, but he does check it back and he shows pocket deuces. It only took 2 hours and 30 minutes to win our first vlog-worthy pot. Jello, you truly are the 1-2 master.
With all the crazy action and all of those all-ins, our table unfortunately breaks pretty soon. We only have a few minutes left of the challenge, and first hand dealt in at our next table, I am not even joking, pocket aces. My chips are still in the rack, and I bump it up to $30 over a $5 limp. The cutoff now doesn't think 30 is enough, he makes it 80. Music to my ears, it folds back to me, and I'm pretty sure there's this rule in poker where you're not supposed to ever believe someone if it's their first hand, and especially not if they still have their chips in the rack. I re-raise to 250 and the cutoff instantly goes all in for 450. We call and once again are off to a run out. Flop comes Jack 8-3 with 2 spades, turns another Jack, river is a deuce. We show and the cutoff looks frustrated as he flips over pocket 10s. We get the max from another pocket pair, and with that, the timer runs out.
All right, I did not get any good hands today. I was in for $1,252. Don't ask me why, I just had that much. And I was out for $550 for a small, slightly big loss. I think I'm the big loser.
Wow, what a nutty session. In for 500, just wrapped it up and cashed out for $27.30. Let's go. Comment below any challenge or punishment ideas you guys got as well. We'd love to hear them. As always, thanks for watching. Peace.